Welcome to the Head Shepherd podcast. I'm your host, Mark Ferguson, CEO here at NextGen Agri International, where we help livestock managers get the best out of their stock. Before we get started, thank you to our two fantastic sponsors for continuing to sponsor this podcast. MSD Animal Health is perhaps better known as Cooper's Animal Health in Australia and for their Allflex range across the world, with a comprehensive suite of animal health and management products. Honega is a one-stop shop for wool harvesting and animal fibre removal. The Honega team have a deep understanding of livestock agriculture, backed by Swiss engineering and a family business dedicated to manufacturing the best. We are grateful to our sponsors for their support, helping us bring Head Shepherd to you each week. And now it's time to get on with this week's episode. Welcome back to Head Shepherd. You're with Ferg. Thank you very much for listening along. Great to have you with us. Today on the show, we are lucky enough to have the sheep geeks joining us. Liz, Genever, Nerys, Wright, sheep geeks from the UK, just launched OptiEwe UK, and that's kicking off very soon. So we thought we'd get this fun pair along to chat about the industry in the UK, as well as the uptake of OptiEwe and all sorts of different directions that the conversation takes. But yeah, really good insight into what's happening over in the UK in the sheep industry and why OptiEwe has been of interest to UK farmers. So a great chat with Liz and Nerys. Before we get into that, a quick reminder that the Xander McDonald Award is now open. So for the month of October, the award is open for those people who are keen to join the Xander McDonald family. It's a great award family where we get together once a year, and for those finalists and winners, it's a great opportunity to network with previous winners as well as leaders across Australia and New Zealand in agriculture. So yeah, if you are one of those people out there doing great things, we'd love to see that application. Jump on the Xander McDonald website and put your application in. It's a short video and a written application, and great opportunity to join that crew. So very much recommend you get into that. Also, a quick reminder that our Round Buyers guides are out and about, getting heaps of downloads, which is fantastic from all over the place. People are ordering those physical copies as well. We just ask you to pay postage and we'll send them out to you. But the latest one is the New Zealand maternal and terminal one. Really getting great feedback. So if you haven't jumped on the website and downloaded them or requested a copy, do that now. It's getting close to round buying season in New Zealand. It's well and truly underway in Australia. We've got guides for both those things. We haven't currently got a land plan version of that for Australia, but that's something that's certainly on the agenda, and hopefully will be around about by this time next year. But yeah, recommend you jump on and have a look through those round buying guides. They're great resource to really refresh your skill set around that round buying job. Righto, we'll get underway with this week's show with the sheep geeks, Liz and Nerys. Welcome, sheep geeks, Liz and Nerys, to Head Shepherd.
Thank you, Ferg. Thanks for having us.
Awesome. Don't sure how this is going to go. We don't often have a couple on at a time, but we thought it'd be good to get you both on together for a few obvious reasons. We might just go for intros first for those out there who don't know who the sheep geeks are, and we'll mention now that you've got a podcast that they all should be listening to. But we'll start with you, maybe Liz. Just a bit of your background, what you do, where you are.
Yeah, so I'm I suppose my main career is a beef and sheep consultant. So I used to work for the Levy Board, so Agriculture and Horticultural Development Board, and then I went independent in 2018. But I also farm, so I'm a partner within a small-ish or medium-sized farm for over here, mixed farm in South Lincolnshire. So if you can draw a line between York and London, I'm sort of halfway between on the eastern side, drier side of England, really.
Yeah, right. So what does a medium-sized mixed farm look like in that part of the world?
So we have we farm about 500 acres, of which most of that's owned. So mixed of beef, sheep, quite a lot of environment schemes, a lot of woods. Probably fair to say that some mum and dad are both 80, so we've sort of reduced the dynastism in the last, if that's even a word, in the last 15 years. So yeah, me and my sisters are just in the process of going through a succession plan with that. So we're sort of working out what that farm might look like. We're quite fortunate. We're right in the middle of the village, have quite a range of different opportunities. development might be on the long-term plan, but in the short term, trying to do quite a lot with building the community before we then build loads of houses everywhere.
Excellent. Right. Well, if we go to you, Nerys, whereabouts in the UK are you, and a bit of background?
Yeah, so I was born and raised in Wales, which is, I'm sure most people will know that, but it's the country that's on the side of England. So I'm a native Welsh speaker. And some people will sort of say to me, "Where is Wales?" And I'm like, well, just keep going.
Do they ever think it's the mammal you're talking about?
No, I've never been asked that. So I was born and raised there, and then I went to university, and then I never went home. I started work. I went straight into work, stayed over the border in England, and I now live in the southeast. I'm about 40 minutes south of Liz, not in an incredibly sheep-dense part of the country, and yet you've got both me, Liz, and another sheep consultant, Leslie Stubbings, who lives within sort of a triangle of us as well. And my main job is as a sheep consultant. I'm not involved with the family farm at home. And Liz and I actually met at AHDB, which is the English levy body. We worked together there. How many years, Liz? Don't say too long, but a long time.
Well, I joined them in 2005 and left in 2018.
And I joined in 2013. So we worked together for 5 years. And then I went independent 18 months ago. And we wanted to do more work together. So that's where Sheep Geeks came from. This is an excuse for me and Liz to talk about sheep. And if anybody happens to want to listen, all the better.
That's right. And just bag cows, or not even talk about cows. Is that how
I'm happy to talk about cows. She will shut those conversations down.
I was very proud of myself. I was out with a new client yesterday, and I did find myself talking about cows for a considerable amount of time. And I thought, if Liz was here now, she would think I've had an epiphany.
Not just in a sense of I feel it in some other context.
Oh, no, it was about, why don't you get some cows? So
we even have a growth. And you looked at some grass. You were asking some questions about the grass too. This is growth.
This is excellent. Good. So talk to us about the state of sheep in the UK. What's happening? What's the stresses? What's the opportunities?
Do you want to go first, Nerys?
Well, it's always easy to focus on the stresses, isn't it? So, but I think opportunity-wise, we'll start with that one. Prices are staying quite strong. But then on the flip side of that, the fact that lamb price is good means that the breeding sales, which we're sort of coming towards the end of now, means our replacements and our breeding rams have also been incredibly expensive. So that's sort of levelling out. The weather has been particularly challenging this summer.
Price look like, just to make us our eyes water.
Sorry, say that again.
What does a strong lamb price look, just to make our eyes water?
So at the moment, I looked at the SQQ this week, it's £6.82 a kilo dead weight.
Yeah, right. So we'll do that maths, and we're not as far off as we normally are, maybe. But anyway, yeah, all good. Excellent.
What would the ratio be? Is it 2 to 1? Would that be $12 a kilo?
I think it's something, so it's actually not miles away. But
yeah,
often it's a bit more of a gap.
Yeah, I mean, it hit the peak of, did it hit 750, Liz? It was definitely been over 7 for a considerable amount of time. We normally see it falling around June, July when you get more quantity onto the market. But even in August, end of August, it was still over £7. So prices have held. But the flock in the UK is decreasing. So there is a supply-demand sort of challenge there for abattoirs, wanting that supply to have enough to kill enough every day. So, and then
you were just about to whinge about the weather when I cut you off.
The weather.
I'll let you explain that.
I always struggle speaking to somebody in the Southern Hemisphere about weather, and moaning it being dry, because you probably would be quite lucky. You'd be happy with what we've had this year. But what I found, and Liz has got some good figures on their rainfall this year, it's kind of been more. It's been further north and in the middle of the country this year, the particularly dry area, and a lot of those farmers haven't dealt with it before. and it's been incredibly prolonged. So that's been a challenge for many.
Yeah, righto. Excellent. I've just done the quick conversion. That's about 15 New Zealand dollars is what you're making per kilo, whereas we're sort of about 10. So.
Okay, so it's a third more then.
Yeah. But I'm sure you can claim that some quality benefits or something.
Yeah, it's also about the cost of, what's the cost of everything putting into them, like vaccines and, all of those sorts of things. So it'd be interesting to know the difference in the profit margin, wouldn't it?
And we do sometimes wonder who's buying it at that price. I think the acceptance is that a lot of supermarkets, they're not making any money on it. And so, and we, within the UK, rely quite a lot on sort of Muslim population. So they're about 5% of the population, but I think it's something like 40% of consumption. It's a really high figure.
Okay.
So, and then we still, even although we've Brexited, we still export quite a lot into Europe. So so proximity of markets and all of that is still useful.
Yeah, right. What's your take on the state of play, Liz?
Similar. So we're on roughly about 50% of the rainfall that we would normally have, and as Nerys said, that's stretched across quite a lot of England. And the disappointment with that is that loads of people have put plans in place and none of those plans quite worked. But we've talked about before, which is some of that was hope. But I think, as Nerys said, a lot of it was a lot of people who've never experienced something like that, and rain is normally somewhere nearby. For me, I think farmers, there's a general that plus agricultural policy is really uncertain at the moment in terms of agricultural schemes. So subsidy has reduced and is reducing over time. And a lot of farmers have used environmental payments to try and sort of bridge the gap between what their money was and what their money might be. And the government has added loads of uncertainty in terms of when those schemes may or may not appear. By saying that, I'm not necessarily justifying those decisions, but that's what lots of farmers and their advisors have encouraged, which is you were being paid this much. So lots of uncertainty, lots of change happening on farm being enforced because they're trying to get money from other sources. We've then had changes in terms of inheritance tax policy, which has just forced people to make some decisions they probably should have made years ago, but are now making them now. So in the last 12 months, we've had major upset from inheritance tax, succession planning, business planning, economic planning of farms. We have massive uncertainty about additional income sources, however you view a subsidy, but it is an income source for those farmers. And you've got weather stress. So loads of farmers are really just to the point of overwhelm. And I was having a conversation the other day with someone about discussion groups, and to the point where actually we just now need to do socials. We're not really focusing on high core technical information for some of those discussion groups because everyone's just to a limit where they're not actually, you might talk to them, they're not taking any of it in because they've got so much happening in their heads. So certainly from the home farm situation, do you mean we've just had rounds of talking to solicitors, accountants, financial advisors, and you get there slowly, but you're adding a huge amount of skills in that I now know things I didn't know even a month ago. So for me, there's just this hum of stress that is across every farm at the moment. And some people don't have all of them, but a lot of people have all of them.
Yeah. So
that was a long answer.
I feel I was really super positive, and Liz has come with
I'm not. That isn't negative. That's a statement of fact. That's what I'm picking up from lots of people I speak to, which is they are, feeling slightly not very resilient at the moment.
Yeah. And there's certainly parts of our catchment that have similar, there's sort of a few people staring down the barrel of 2 failed seasons in a row, which is pretty horrific. And there's a lot of people that, having, similar struggles. The OptiEwe is just launched, and it's been awesome to hear that there's plenty of people coming out of the woodwork to sign up. What do you think's been within that environment, people are still keen to push the envelope on their sheep businesses?
Yeah, we've been really thrilled, haven't we, Liz? So I think we're gonna do 2 groups from the outset because we've had enough interest from a varying geography that we thought actually rather than pull people down, for them to travel a lot, we would do a group further up north as well as in the Midlands. And we've even had interest from Wales and Scotland as well. So,
well, maybe you'll get home eventually.
So to counter my negative, and it wasn't negativity. I was going for hard facts. I've been listening to a lot of political podcasts, so it could be worse. But I think the reason why, and I suppose I spend quite a lot of time also within mixed farms. So arable farming at the moment is a bit of a struggle. However, from a sheep perspective, we've got, as Nerys said, high prices. That looks to be, during the forecast, is that they're not going to drop considerably. So there's a lot of optimism in the prices. You've got lots of people now all of a sudden thinking that how do they keep as many lambs alive as possible? But also underlying that is loads of people are really interested in changing systems or have changed systems. So maybe they've been more high input indoor lambing system, moved to an outdoor lambing system, and yet they still want to really supercharge the number of lambs. So I think that's probably what's driven some of it. And there's been nothing like it in the UK for a long time. So I think that's an advantage. So whether I do sound negative, don't you? Do you mean if we as we run another wave, would we get any more people? Who knows? But anyway, I'll shut up. Nerys, you go.
Yeah. We'll get a little ray of sunshine.
Her good cop, it appears.
Yeah, I also think that it's a lot. So pre-COVID, we did a lot of on-farm events, a lot of in-person events. COVID put a stop to all of that, and we have not got back to those levels by any stretch of imagination. And I think people are keen to get together, as Liz said, from the social side, but also like-minded people who like sheep getting together in a room. So that's partly why we were wanting to do OptiEwe, because we haven't had anything like that for such a long time. And we had something in the UK called the Progressive Sheep Group. And there's a lot of people that still talk about things that they changed as a result of that group. And it's been a decade or more. So I think that's part and parcel as well.
And I think there's also the National Sheep Association do loads of initiatives, don't they? Sort of the next generation. And then gets to a point where they then run out of what to do next. So we're basically the stopgap, is what I'm saying now. I'm not. But I think it's also, what's interesting is that quite a lot of the people who've signed up have engaged through the National Sheep Association before, or AHDB, all of that stuff. So we are also, the challenge always is that we're working with the engaged community, aren't we? How do we get to?
Yeah, that is true. And yeah, but anyway, I guess the applicability. I mean, I guess one of the things that we're working through at the moment, or you guys and Sophie are at least, is sort of adapting it to different situations. Obviously, I mean, I guess the reality is that sort of nutrition, genetics principles, human principles are all pretty similar regardless of where we apply a sheep business.
Yeah, well, we've been looking at the content with Sophie, and there's a few dollar changes to pound changes and a few changes in terminology, but we're looking at cost of production for the first module and about setting goals and business drivers. And like you say, that doesn't really matter where you are in the world.
Yeah.
And we have quite a lot of confusion about what we call a ewe lamb in the UK, let alone, so it's between we're calling it what we think is we're going to call it, and then we're still going to have a slide talking through all of the different terms that we would use
for the same thing.
Yeah.
Wait till we get to Wales then, Liz. You'll get to learn all the Welsh equivalents as well.
What is it? Give us some Welsh. What do you call a ewe lamb in Welsh?
Oh.
So you'd call her an oen menu, which is like a young ewe. That would be where I am.
Right.
But again, it will change whether you go further north or further south. So you've probably got 4.
Where are Gimmers? Are they? Are Gimmers Scotland or something? Where's Gimmers?
Northern England is quite a lot of Gimmers.
Northern England.
Yeah.
Okay.
But
then ewe lambs further south.
But then people buy mule Gimmers from the north, and then they can go anywhere. So then Gimmers the term can be used in lots of different places too.
All right. Excellent. Such a confusing little place over there.
Of all of the terminology.
Yeah.
Also, I remember going to a meeting with a lot of Scottish people, and they were talking about yows. So this is very, very sort of out of university. And I was like, what is a yow? and it's a ewe. We were in North Yorkshire and it was a ewe. And unfortunately, my face asked the question. I didn't have to say, what is a yow? Because I think I was just looking at them like, what is that? So yows. So, and if anyone's listening over in Australia that have got some family, they'll be like, oh yeah, that's a word I haven't heard for a while.
It's O's too, isn't it? Someone calls it O's. Yeah, O's, use. Yeah, anyway, we will get focused. Those people that are going from like those intensive indoor lambing, and then is it, I mean, the assumption, I guess, from this far away is that was necessary, but obviously people can move them outdoors and happily lamb as we do in this part of the world. So people are obviously just the cost structure of lambing indoors and are finding out that you can actually keep lambs alive outside. Is that how it's working?
And some of it's been driven by they just want to do it a different way. Labour requirements. Do you mean the cost in, as you said, the cost in general? Some of it is I could almost see it like a challenge, like they've seen it or they've been travelling and seen how others do it and want to try and do it here. The costs are part of it. We see quite a lot of systems still, especially in my bit of the world, that are timed for labour. So they might be arable plus sheep. So they tend to keep earlier lambing, which then means indoor, just from a labour profile perspective. And they want everything, like most of the lambs sold by the time harvest comes around. So I always think it's interesting to where is the evolution of that system come from? But noticeable that people a lot more outdoor lambing systems.
Is that required a shift in genetics? Like, is that part of that shift? And what does that look like?
Yeah, and loads of New Zealand genetics have come in and helped that transition.
I do want to note it took me 20 minutes to ask a genetics question. So that's pretty good.
No, it's interesting because you sometimes you'll see, well, there's two ways of approaching it. One is we're going to change the system, the ewes will have to adapt. And then you've got the other sort of approach where we're changing everything, including the genetics that are on this farm. I'm working on a farm at the moment who's sort of transitioning into a different breed. And you can see their previous breed on the farm is struggling in the new system, but they're going year on year. So you can see those that are struggling in the new system because they've gone very outdoor grazing system versus before, feeding pre-lambing, feeding post-lambing, creeping the lambs, getting them all gone. And, you're asking a lot for that ewe to change what she's been used to for 4 years. So, yeah, there's different ways of approaching it.
There's the uptake. Does that mean there's more, like things like parasite resistance and stuff have to come into breeding objectives that haven't needed to be there, or are they always needed to be there because they're outdoors sometime?
I think the focus has shifted towards that because generally you're moving from an indoor system with a lot of supplementary creep feed, and part of that was driven by when the price dropped a few years ago. People had to transition out of that high cost system. What's interesting with the high price is that during that there's still money to be made on that quite what appears to be a very intensive system, just because of those lambs disappear and they're not really being put under any parasite pressure because they're not really eating. The ambition is they're not actually really eating very much grass. So I think the breed shifts also had firstly for system change, also some people have experienced quite serious disease outbreaks by buying in certain types of sheep. So they've sort of gone afresh to a whole new genetic pool, and then it's allowed them to change their system. So the motivation of why people have changed is variable, but there's a combination of cost. Could have been they've experienced a disease outbreak and want to do something different, so I always find it fascinating, like why are people doing that? And a few years ago, it used to be Clin. So Clin is a Welsh breed that originates, well, Nerys will know, but it's like a hill breed that's been massively improved. So probably 10 years ago, if you went onto a farm and they'd just bought some Clins, you could tell they were starting to think differently. Now we've got like a handful of breeds that's sort of an indicator that they're interested in exploring different systems. And probably in the last 5-10 years, just as over in your bit of the world is shedders, some people have been doing it for years.
How does that go in terms of the product hitting the market? I mean, was in Canada this time last year and ate sort of very heavily grain-fed lamb that had never been on grass. It was a very different taste profile than like a grass-fed animal. So I imagine whatever's hitting the supermarket, but I guess there's been always been a mix, but it'll be very different what the consumer might get one day and one the next, a very different taste profile.
Yeah, and even like this time of year, so it could be lambs finishing off the end of grass, it could be off brassicas, it could be creep green. So we have this variation that always sits within us. It gets probably not worse, but more extreme as we head towards the winter.
Yeah, excellent. So when does OptiEwe kick off? When's the first group going to run, do you reckon? You're getting close to organising that, or
16th of October.
Oh, there you go, 13 days.
Yeah. And the second date is the 11th of November, like the second group in the north. We've penciled that in as well. So
yeah, cool. Game on. So, no, looking forward to hearing how that goes.
I think
I've got a couple of questions.
There'll be a lot of the use of the word, this is a pilot, bear with us. We've already got that going.
Yeah. Yeah, we're just running our third group this week and got another one, or the final third on Monday, or when this podcast goes out. Actually, I'll be up running that one. So yeah, but I think we're slowly getting out of pilot mode into real mode. But always, every time you run a module, it's new material, which is quite good fun at the moment. So yeah, but it's been interesting. The one that ran this week, Sophie had modified the slides, and I was delivering it. So I was just wondering what was going to come on the next slide, and then just shoot to that, which is all good fun. That's my fault for not getting organised, but anyway, it's all good. We've got a couple of questions we ask everyone on the podcast. I reckon we should ask both of you these questions. So I don't know who wants to go first, but the first question is, what have you last changed your mind about? And ideally not about what you had for breakfast or lunch or whatever. So try to go a bit deeper than that. But
look, we're both fighting to go first.
And Nerys has got a good one. She's told me this.
Well, no, I think
we don't want Liz's negativity early. We'll go for positive first.
Pragmatist. I'm a pragmatist. That's what I prefer.
So I was thinking about this, and I was like, "What is the most significant thing that I have changed my mind about?" And it sort of dawned on me. It's something I'd usually say no to, which I said yes to. So my daughter wanted to walk home from the park on her own. And normally I'd go, absolutely no chance. You're only 8 years old. But I paused and thought, I can see the house. She hasn't got any roads to cross. My husband's at home. So I just said, yeah, off you go. And I think she was almost calling my bluff, because I think she's quite shocked when I said yes. And she's like, oh, okay. And my husband watched her come round, and she basically ran all the way home. So I think that's a big one, because, as kids get older, you're like, how do you give them that flexibility and that confidence? Because I say to her, it's not that I don't trust her, it's other people I don't trust. But then how do I do that without making her incredibly insecure? So I was thinking, yeah, that was a big thing that I changed my mind to. She's still not allowed to go to the park further down, or the post office, but that was a big one for me.
Small steps.
Yeah.
Yeah. Cool. Thank you. Liz, you've had time to
no, mine's my
find some positivity.
My flip one was, I wasn't going to get my new tank top, which has got sheep on it, but I changed my mind and I'm now wearing it, so that's good.
Excellent. Good. Nice.
The other one I think is I'm really intrigued on how we run discussion groups, and so I think what I'm really interested in working with Nerys on this is I've tend to do a lot of discussion groups on my own and have a very fixed view of how I run things. And so the last few meetings I've done with other people, and if you let people in, it actually becomes a more interesting meeting. So I think for me, there's an element of change my mind, which is that I don't always know everything, perhaps, would be something.
So glad we're recording this. Have that audio.
Even letting Welsh people in.
Can you send me that snippet, Ferg, of Liz saying, I'm not always right about everything, and I'm going to put it on my phone as my ringtone?
That's going to be on our every reel. It'll be just like Liz saying, yeah.
But I think it's also that I'm intrigued, because as you would have done, we've done hundreds and hundreds of meetings, and we think, and I'm always surprised people call me quite hypercritical, because I always sort of go, what could we have done better? And I just think there's always tweaks to be done. And I think it's interesting to bring other people into running those meetings to see what other people can bring. That's but I'm also excited about my tank top.
Yeah, it is a nice
I actually really enjoyed that with OptiEwe, because Sophie's led it. Sophie and the Emmas have sort of done a lot of all of the material really using some of the stuff we already had, but sort of thinking about it in their brains has been different than the way I would necessarily put together. But that's it's been refreshing and good, I think, is thinking differently about how we do this, because you do get into the groove and just do it one particular way. But,
and I think and I'm doing a different project as well, which is about how do we encourage change on farm, but we as the deliverers have to also demonstrate change. So do you mean we're encouraging farmers to look in different perspectives? So we also have to go with them on that journey. So I think that's also interesting as an approach. Like if we're really fixed and never changing our mindsets, then who are we to tell somebody else to do it?
Yeah, exactly. And I think that's 100% true. And we've got to definitely lead from the front. It's easy to have our recipes and expect everyone just to follow them, but that's not how the world works, particularly with the amount of change we're seeing globally now, or just technology. Yeah, it's just if you don't change, you're going to get left behind pretty quick. The last question we ask, and we can go in the same order, is who's the best human you've had the opportunity to learn from? And you don't have to stick to one, and you don't have to say Liz, Nerys, but
thanks, because I wasn't planning on, and that would have been maybe awkward, but I feel like you've given me permission. I mean, I've listened to lots of people's answers, and I was thinking, if I answered that question, how would I answer it? And I would say, sort of professionally, I think the privilege I've learned from lots of brilliant people, but two standout people for me would be Kate Phillips and Leslie Stubbings. They're both independent sheep consultants here in the UK, and they've both been huge mentors to me throughout my career. Kate was my boss in my first job and gave me sort of lots of guidance. And then Leslie, along with Liz, helped me through my PhD, and just their experience and insights.
I believe I got you your PhD at the beginning, but let's not.
And to be fair, I think Liz did bring me back from the brink on at least one occasion where I was on the phone and I think I was about to quit. And Liz was like, no, you're going to do this. You're going to do this. So Leslie was involved in that project as well. And just people's generosity, people are just really kind to sort of give that helping hand, especially since I've gone independent. People have helped again. So I'd have to say those two.
Awesome. Thanks, Nerys. Liz, what have we... I'm sure you've learned some Welsh from Nerys.
Well, obviously, Nerys is in the top.
In the top what? What was that figure?
10.
Oh, 10.
Don't ask me to list it yet. I need to think about it. Anyway, So I think for me, when I was still at HTB, was involved in a project with Pharmax, and we may love or hate Pharmax, but it was really important at that time to help me develop system thinking. So how do we demand and supply? And prior to that, there was no work being done here on that sort of way of thinking about beef and sheep systems. So sitting on I was sitting next to people like, I want to say Graham Ogle, Marino. Yeah. And then there was another, Trevor Cook also came over at the same time.
Oh, yeah.
And that idea of it isn't about knowing everything about one subject, it's how it all fits together, and how do you get farmers to think about it as a whole system, and it is all interconnected. And I think that has led to where I am now and how I'm interested in that systems, holistic, however you want to put it. But whack-a-mole is something I use, like you hit somewhere and it all appears somewhere else. So it's how do you think about it as this whole system? And then again, because I also love facilitation and running meetings, I've like people who have trained me and done meetings. I went to one and it was like the most amazing, like so subtle of how you can run meetings, and I forever wish to be those people. So for me, it's being exposed to people who are just really good at their job, and you realise when you do it well, it looks really simple. Awesome,
thank you. And I think that system thinking is something that we may take for granted a bit, and that I was very lucky when my first job out of uni was really a big systems project, and so kind of was forced into that thinking from early times, which is really, really fortunate, because it's easy just to focus on one part of the system and that will have a major impact somewhere else.
And I'm trying to remember, there was another guy who he's Scottish but works over there, based up in North Island on the east. I can't remember his name, but he was also amazing. As we know, I've got no memory, but I remember him being Scottish.
Excellent. Good. I can't. We won't have a guessing competition for the.
Anybody who's the names and addresses on a staff stressed envelope. Okay. Thanks.
We'll send out a next gen hat to the person who guesses the Scottish consultant from the East Coast.
East Cape, Scottish, used to be a farm manager. Only works with people who run Farmax, or did. He might be dead now. Who knows? It was 15 years ago. Maybe 10.
Was he looking healthy at the time? Or?
Yeah, but...
Liz was maybe enough to finish him off, Ferg.
It's going to really annoy me that I can't think of his name. Anyway.
Excellent.
Sorry.
I'll annoy our listeners as well, so that'll be good.
So I've come across as a really negative person who has no memory. Excellent.
Well, you did give us the context. You've been listening to a right-wing podcast.
Yeah. No. So. I've been listening to anti-right-wing podcasts.
Sorry.
That's an important...
You need to stick to just agricultural ones, Liz. You'll be fine.
No.
Staying it.
Just put Sheep Geeks on repeat so that we get more hits.
I think that might be an indicator that I need to go to a special place if I'm basically listening to my own thing regularly.
It'd be kind of like listening to a right-wing podcast, surely. Excellent, righto. Well, thanks to you both for your time. Awesome to be collaborating on OptiEwe, and looking forward to hopefully catching up with you, Nerys, when you hit this side of the world for the vet conference. But great to have a chat, and thanks very much for your time. Looking forward to hopefully one day getting over there for one of these OptiEwe groups. That'd be awesome.
Yeah, no, that'd be great. We'll have to. We'll have to pick a good group as well, won't we? Might get the best of all the ones we've done so far. No, we'll have to get all of the sort of the favourites back together.
We might have one just massive group. Maybe that's the way to do it. No favourites.
Oh yeah, like a reunion.
We haven't met we need to do the first meeting before they can have a reunion. Would be a suggestion.
Liz is always restraining me, Ferg. She's always holding me back. I've been on at her to have some Sheep Geeks merch for ages, and she's finally caved and let us have some polo shirts.
Yeah, right. Well, I didn't want to go too out there. She got outside a button collar.
We know not to mention the word sticker now in front of Sophie.
Yeah. Yeah, you've just ruined her day by doing that.
Oh, no, literally, she had to stop us last night, Ferg. I was about to take a sticker off something. She's like, I'm going to have to stop you. We were like, oh my God, what's wrong? She's like, I have a phobia. And I was like, okay. Bless her.
She's definitely editing this bit out.
Yeah, sorry, Sophie.
But no, it was, obviously, we did not do it intentionally. We did not.
No, we didn't. No. And then, when you think, oh no, and then you feel really bad. Yeah, sorry, Sophie.
Yeah. You've just given her, ruined her day. That's all good. Excellent, righto. Thank you. We'll talk soon.
Yeah, thank you very much.
Thanks again to Heineken, who are proud world leaders in the manufacturing and supply of professional sheep shearing and clipping equipment. Thank you to MNSD Animal Health and Norflex Livestock Intelligence. They offer an extensive livestock product portfolio focused on animal health management, all backed up by exceptional service. We thank both of these companies for their ongoing support of the Head Shepherd podcast.